It's very hard to say how I got to here. I mean, you always think there's a moment when you look back and say that was the moment that meant that I'm sitting here today. But the story, how I became a social entrepreneur, is a strange story. It's a long one, and I think it began really when I was 17 years old. You know, I discovered I couldn't see at 17 as well as I thought. But it took me until I was 28 years old to admit that. And the very personal story is why it matters to me, because it is personal. And I think social entrepreneurs, when they set up something, they really have to have a personal connection to it. That personal connection that makes you just keep going when it seems ridiculously impossible. And I think there are 7 billion people on the planet. And we use the word everybody and all and us. But everyone doesn't mean everyone, because there are 1 billion people in the world of a disability. And actually, of all the big social issues of our time, it's the one that nobody really talks about outside the disability community or outside the UN Convention. Very much the reason why I set up Kanchi, which is an organisation which is about releasing the value of 1 billion people globally with a disability, is because I believe every single person has potential beyond what they believe. And I think with disability, people focus on the thing that you can't do. And they forget all the things about you that are rich and diverse and wonderful. So how can we create a society that really embraces difference? And so that's my obsession and purpose and passion. And our work really is to unleash that power by engaging the business community and getting the community to think and understand differently about disability, getting them to see the value of disabled people as consumers and talent and suppliers and members of the community. And if business gets that, then society will get that. And our job in Kanchi is to provide business with the tools and the methodology and everything they need to become inclusive. If business are inclusive, society will become inclusive. We have a program called the Ability Awards Program. Around this program is a huge multimedia campaign. We run this program for 3 cycles in a territory, which takes up 5 years. The outputs of that are that we will get 50 ability companies, we'll get category leaders, shining lights in the public sector, the private sector and small firms. We will achieve, because the Ability Awards programme is set up as a multi-stakeholder group, we'll have leadership from business and from government and from media and the disability community together. So in a 5-year period, we'll have got examples of best practice, we've got companies that are committed, we've created a community, and we've got credible leadership. It's fascinating to see what can happen over a 5-year period. We hope in time to take the verification assessment tool from the Ability Awards programme and sell that separately or work with businesses separately as a standalone standard or tool. The Ability Awards programme as it stands at the moment is like combining like an ISO and like a best companies to work for competition model. And what we hope in time to come, we don't have to have award schemes, that we can actually take that standard or that benchmark out and work with companies individually on using that. You know, because I see businesses everywhere as far as I'm concerned, everywhere. I mean, just even as we're sitting here talking, everything around us is created by business, right? And business is about people. So it's my dream and ridiculous ambition that we will have an inclusive business community, which means we will have an inclusive society. Also, I think the most important thing is we've given them a big enough vision, because we have to be exciting. We think inclusive business is like the new green. And what Kanchi is trying to do is create a global business movement on inclusive business. When Kanchi talks about inclusive business, what it means is that people with disabilities are included as customers, employees, are retained if they acquire a disability, and are recognised as being within the community and the market that a business deals with. So a really good inclusive company is a company, when they're recruiting people, they think about everyone. So the recruitment practices are engaging with the disability community. It sounds very simple, but it doesn't, because often companies don't necessarily invite or encourage people with disabilities to think about working with them. And that's making it very explicit, making it very obvious. A really bad example of when a business is not being inclusive It's just some really simple things like, for an example, a lift in a hotel, okay? Is the lift wide enough? Is the lift held open for more than 8 seconds? Because if you're in a wheelchair, or a mum with a buggy, or somebody who just happens to be on crutches because they had an accident, when those lifts close, they cause a serious accident. Really, really simple stuff. Inclusive business is thinking about everybody all the time. And that's in the design of the product, the design of the services, in the organisation itself, and it's in how you market externally. And the other thing is celebrating success. Talk about solutions. Don't go out pointing your finger and being negative, because people don't respond really very well to negativity. They definitely respond to positivity. So that's how, and you see here, there's 100 commitments from 100 Irish companies, and there's some of them are really small. But one small commitment to inclusive business can actually lead to a culture change.